Start the recording. And I am going to welcome everyone and call the ANC3F meeting, May meeting to order. I see that we have Commissioner Iglesias, Commissioner Guzman, Commissioner Bear. I believe you're the phone number up on our
Yes,
upper
I am.
right. We're so happy to have you here, and thank you so much for joining us amidst your vacation. Commissioner Rothman is also on vacation but unable to attend. And we did not hear from Commissioner David, so it was really important for us to have Commissioner Bear dial in, and we do really appreciate his presence because we do have important votes that we need to do today. So I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the May draft agenda as distributed. All in favor? Oh yeah, thanks for seconding that.
Awesome.
Aye.
And Mitch as
Aye.
well. Thank you. And then moving on to the approval of the meeting minutes. I do think I've discussed with everyone the content of the meeting minutes. They've been edited and adjusted. So without objection, I'd like to move that we approve those.
I
So
second.
moved. Thanks. Okay, so moving
Aye.
straight along away, because we
Aye.
have a very robust agenda tonight, to Lieutenant Forrest. Lieutenant, sorry, you are our first participant today. We thank you for being ready to roll here, and please proceed.
Unmuted now. Perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I apologize. I am a little bit under the weather. I'm not back at work as of yet, but I'm here. So I'm here to give you a rundown of our stats for the last 30 days. Moving right along, homicides in 3F, we had 0, sex abuse 0, ADW, we did have 1, which was closed with an arrest, 4900 block of Connecticut Avenue in Muhlenberg Park. That one was closed. Robberies, we had 0. We did have a burglary 2, which is of the resident was not at home, and it seems as though someone pried the window open while the resident was out of town or wherever, and entered the apartment, the resident that way. For motor vehicle thefts, we have 3. We're down 25% in that area. There was there was 1 in the 3100 block of Ellicott, and there was 2 in the 2900 block of Porter, and one of those vehicles were recovered in the 6th district. With theft from autos, we are actually down. We only have had 3 over the last 30 days. We're down 77%. There's no concentration of any one address. We had like 3 scattered locations regarding that. Theft, we are down 7%, but we did have a whopping 28, which we're still working on those theft from the CVS, the Targets, all those theft. That's what's pretty much driving up our thefts. I believe, Courtney, you had a question with regards to Murch Elementary. Yes.
Yeah, thank you for addressing that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I do apologize. I've been off, then I was sick, so I'm still not
No,
back.
I talked to Commander Savoy, and
Okay.
and I know you guys also had police week, so
Yeah.
you
So-
know,
so
we
requested
totally
answer-
appreciate everything you're doing. Thank you.
Okay, great. So that's all I have, unless anyone has any questions for me. And before I move on, belated Mother's Day to all the mothers. Woo woo. Anyway, that's all I got.
Can you, Lieutenant, can you speak just to the group about the incident at March?
Okay, so from my understanding, like I said, I have not been back at work, but from my
Oh, okay,
understanding,
do you not have the report? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I
No.
misunderstood you there.
No, you're fine. But from what I've
Okay,
seen,
thanks.
I do periodically check my emails. But from what I've seen, it seems as though there was a call with regards to a weapon at the school. the officers responded and they did their search and their investigation, and nothing was found. So we still, I guess, had to do a report with regard to that, but with regard to the weapon that was allegedly there, it seems as though nothing was found once the officers got on the scene. And that's all the information I have. I could dig a little bit more once I get back to work, but that's all I saw.
Okay. I think maybe we'll follow up with you on this,
Mhm.
if we can.
Yes,
Does anyone
definitely.
have, thank
Yeah.
you so much. Does anyone have any questions, for Lieutenant Forrest?
Yes, I do.
Commissioner Bear?
Lieutenant, I've
Yes.
had a report of problems at the corner of Albemarle and Connecticut, traffic being being having problems making that turn onto Connecticut Avenue because of people waiting to get into the car wash, and people going around, other cars waiting to go into the car wash, and causing problems for pedestrians in that crosswalk. And that complaint has come from the Montessori school parents as well as other people in my district. Is there something that you can do to try to ensure that traffic moves smoothly but not illegally as they try to make that right-hand turn onto Connecticut Place?
Okay, so I did the last meeting that we had when that was brought up. I actually went down there myself so I could pretty much have a look, and it is an issue with regarding to the traffic because the way the traffic lane is going into the car wash, it actually has to turn off of it has to turn off of Albemarle onto Connecticut into the car wash. So that's definitely an issue. However, the only thing that I could see with regarding to that, if the car wash probably can have somebody like directing their traffic. What we can do from MPD perspective, we probably could give that area special attention. But from what I was seeing, it was very difficult to like reroute the car somewhere else because of the entrance of the car wash itself. But what I will continue to do, and the officers has been doing that, is to just give that area special attention and pretty much anybody that's making like illegal turns or whatever, we could probably try to do like a traffic stop on them with regards to that. But it's going to be a little difficult with regarding to the way the car wash is set up and how the entrance is in and out of that place.
I will.
It makes you have to do something illegal often if you're driving.
Right, exactly. And I was sitting there myself and I was actually watching it and I'm like, ooh, you know, and I'm like trying to figure out how could, how could we make this a little different? And the only thing that I could see is probably, like I said,
Putting someone.
yeah.
So I hate to cut you off, Lieutenant Forrest, but I think that's
You're
actually
fine.
one of the big. I my attic right now. This window is like overlooking Breadfast, so I'm right behind there, and um, and the one thing that has been consistently helpful is when they post an employee out there, and what we've really struggled to do is have them be consistent about that, and of course, there's just no.
Yeah.
We can't enforce it, and it's not something like we're not going to call the police to say, "Hey, they don't have anybody posted out there." But that has been they've posted people out there before, and when they do, it makes a marked difference. And I think a lot of us are frustrated because we've just been unable to get it to consistently happen. But it
Yeah.
makes a difference to hear you say that that is helpful because yes, I think a lot of us agree.
Yeah. So what I'll try to do next week, once I get back to work, I'll see if I could probably, contact the owner myself just to see if that's something that, can't force them to do anything, of course, but if that's something that they can, do to help, the community with regard to having somebody posted regarding safety.
In terms of not being able to, I don't want to belabor this point too much, but it really is. I mean, I think it's a safety issue as well as a quality of life issue. And I do think that they're sort of illegally taking a lane of traffic for their own private business use that is then not available for the rest of the community to use, because that's like their line. You know, it's like if Bread First just line for baguettes was like in the middle of Connecticut Avenue instead of, you know, within their store.
And there
We
used to
wouldn't
be a
think
no
that was
standing
fair
sign.
or safe or right, you know?
Or that the Albemarle, Connecticut, right in front of Bread First and the car wash used to have a no standing sign, which was at least enforceable in as much as MPD, but that's been another change recently, is that there's no longer any signage there other than the emergency sort of one, but there used to be a no standing / parking thing, and that's been since removed, and so it's just now people are technically allowed to stand there, and so of course we can't really point to anything to say, hey, there's the traffic here. It's allowed.
This is a problem as old as time in this neighborhood. But you know, as we're always trying to move the needle here in ANC3F, you know, we're not going to give up just because it's been a problem for 26 years. So if you can help us try and figure that out, because I do think it's becoming less and less safe because of the frustration of people who then dart around the corner. So it's like you then are actually doing something illegal, I think, because you
Right.
have to, because
You have
the
to.
lane is blocked. Yeah. So then like citing people isn't necessarily the solution. Anyway, thank you. Thanks for keeping that on your brain, and thank you for visiting it, because like now you made the same sound we all make. Whoa, that was weird.
Yeah, I
It's not
did.
working.
I sat there for a little while and I was like, okay, this is an issue, but how do we fix it? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. There's so many things I think in all of our worlds are like that, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. And you know, even as you're on the mend, we really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Have a blessed evening, everybody.
Take care, Lieutenant.
Have a good night.
Kendall Gibson, our Mocher hero. How are you?
I'm
Are
so
you here? I know
good.
you're here.
I'm here. I heard this is a problem. Now, how do I fix it? I'm like, that sounds like every single day of my life.
You are a good fixer of problems, Kendall. That's why we're so glad you're here. And you were paying rapt attention to that conversation. She's not just on for her portion of the meeting. She is paying attention all the way through.
I'm locked in. That's for
There
sure.
you go.
Well, hi everybody. Let me fix your problems. I'm Kendall Gibson. I'm the Ward 3 manager in Mayor Bowser's
You get
office. of Community
spotlighted
Relations.
for that, Kendall.
Thanks. I'm the Ward 3 manager in the Mayor's Office of Community Relations and Services, otherwise known as MOKERS. I'm going to be brief this evening. I know we have some important things to get to. World Pride is upon us. Happy Pride, everybody. The Mayor's Office of LGBTQIA+ affairs has been hard at work, making sure that this year will be the best Pride yet. I will be walking in the parade alongside the mayor on June 7th at 2:00 p.m. It will be going down 14th Street. So I hope you can join us on the sidelines to celebrate Pride. But there are so many more events than just the parade this year. There's concerts featuring Cynthia Erivo and Shakira and Doechii, if you're young enough to know who Doechii is. And if you want more information, you can go to worldpridedc.org. The programming has already started and it's running all the way through June. So there's an event for everybody. Second, the Office of Planning is hosting 2 community workshops in the coming weeks. These workshops will discuss the essential elements of a neighborhood with fun activities to help residents identify the growing community needs and priorities for future growth. There's one on Saturday, May 31st, 2025, and another on Wednesday, June 4th, 2025. And you can find more information about these events and RSVP for them, which is important so we know how many people to anticipate at dc2050.com. But that's all I have tonight.
Excellent. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for the mayor's office? I know that we're on our path to get, and part of it is due to your hard work, that fence finally repaired at Forest Hills Park, that repair has begun. So
Yep.
we know you had a hand in that, and we appreciate that. Our organization, Good Clean Fun, part of Van Ness Main Street, has been working hard to activate the park, have events at the park, and we need our park maintenance completed in order to make those events the best they can be.
Yep.
So thank you for
Hear
your
you.
part in that. Keep at it.
Oh, we're at it. It's gonna happen before June. It's gonna happen.
Awesome. Thank you, Kendall. Thanks for being here. Gloria Garcia, Van Ness Main Street. I know she was here. There she is.
Behind. Here I go. Gloria, there you go. Pinning Gloria.
Thank
pinned her.
you. Hi, good evening, everyone. Gloria Garcia, Van Ness Main Street. First, I want to thank everyone who came to our annual meeting at beginning of May. It was really well attended. It was great energy. And Calvert Woodley provided the breakfast, and we had some really good report outs from UDC's President Eddington, as well as Councilmember Fruman was there, and our friends at Edmund Burke and Pierce Mill. And no one asked me about Moms when it was opening. So it was a huge success, in my opinion.
Moms is so good. I hope everyone is shopping there.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So we also awarded our Spirit of Van Ness Main Street Award to Michael Sands, who with his father owned Calvert Woodley for 40 years and now has passed the torch to the Patels. So it was really nice. I think he was very touched, and they've been a big part of our community for many years. We completed Be the Change, our big spring event, and that included our pollinator plantings, we had pollinator walks with that Kathy Sykes carried out, which she's amazing. Couldn't do any of this without her. And then Good Clean Fun, we had a dance party at the park, which was really fun and well attended with a DJ. And we had our quarterly cleanup also on May 10th, the same time as our pop-up. So we really think that the prizes are going out next week. So thanks to all the businesses, and people are being notified this week, and we'll get them out next week. Still working on district.
Any preview of prize winners?
Huh?
Prize winners?
Oh,
You're not announcing big news.
We're announcing them, yeah. So, but I mean,
All
it's
right.
really
Next
cool.
month. We'll hold our breath.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, I can say that on our art contest, we had Franklin Montessori, the really cute 3 to 5 year olds have like the cutest artwork. Come by our office. It's right in the window. They won first place. And so they're getting a Politics and Prose a gift card, so they can go, the teachers can go shopping for them. And
Amazing.
yeah, so sweet. And they came to see it, and I have a picture of them, the back of them. They were so, I was just melting that day. I was like, I love my job. And then we had 2 sisters, 7-year-old and a 9-year-old and a 12-year-old. So really pretty. They're just 3. So yeah, it was a fun spring event. The other interesting thing we're working on is District Fringe. Thank you, Adrian. We are one step closer. UDC is filling out the puzzle of where we're going to place everything. And some of it will go in our office as well. We're even talking to James about Comet. So it's going to be all over the corridor, but a lot of it at UDC. Announcements coming shortly for July, Fringe. It's so exciting. And then last week, we also welcomed the Department of Small and Local Business Development's director. And she visited up at Politics and Prose, Comet, Bucks, Muchas Gracias, and Honeys. And then we went down to Bread First and the Whale Tea. And I have to say that every single business you know, when asked, what can we do? They brought up the, you know, still that, you know, calling 911 and not having people respond is a problem. So that was like the number one across the board, that when they call 911, they don't get a response. So that was heard loud and clear. And that, you know, it's some of their employees are just not calling anymore. So things are going unreported. And that includes major shoplifting and also our mentally, you know, the health crisis that continues, you know, people that are, you know, hanging out at the businesses. So I get
That
a lot
happened
of
to me
those
this
reports
week. It was
myself.
really,
Yeah,
it was really problematic for me this week. I called behavioral health, and I actually had behavioral health that did respond in the time
Okay.
that, you know, I was there. But, you know, the same gentleman who was harassing, you know, us as we passed the business and as we were eating, you know, was back the next morning doing the same stuff. So
Yeah.
it's really important that we get this
Yeah.
sorted,
And so,
sorted.
and the restaurants also brought up I-82, the tipped wage, you know, that's a problem. So it was consistent across the board, and it was everything I hear. So, you know, so our big thing we're going to look forward to this summer is District Fringe. And also working on a couple more things at the park. But, you know, please support the local businesses. May is Small Business Month, and, you know, they need all the help they can get. So if anybody has questions, but that's it.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, the stuff that NS Main Street is doing is so meaningful for the business district and for all of us who live in the neighborhood. It really is impactful.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Juanita from UDC.
Can you hear me?
Hi, Juanita Gray. Sorry, Juanita Gray. Excuse me. Juanita Gray from UDC. I'm sorry, very casual tonight.
That's okay. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Juanita Gray, the University of the District of Columbia. I want to start off. I had some questions earlier about the heavy police presence on campus today. Please don't be alarmed. MPD was having their award, or they're still having their award ceremony in the Theater of the Arts. So that is the reason for the heavy police presence on campus. So no, nothing serious. The semester has ended. We are starting our summer months. Summer session is a lot fewer students on campus and more classes will be online. Our commencement was great. It happened on the 10th down at the convention center. This year we had over 700 graduates, and that's from the associate's degrees, bachelor's degrees, PhDs, master's degrees, and the law school. So we're really excited about that. And this was the first year that we actually awarded 3 honorary PhDs. Normally we would just do the keynote speaker, but we were able to do 2 additional. And we also received a $100,000 grant. And off the top of my head, I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to get it wrong, but I will have that and I will email that to you all so you can put it on record. But we did receive from one of the honorees, one of the PhD recipients, a $100,000 grant. So we're really excited about that. And then lastly, on May 30th, that is our new budget oversight hearing. This is now the 3rd one that has been scheduled. They've been rescheduled, as we know, because the budget hasn't come out yet, although it's supposed to drop. The mayor's budget, I've been told, is supposed to drop on the next Tuesday. So hopefully that happens. But although I know it's too late to have any type of resolution of support from the commission as a whole, if individual commissioners and individual community members would like to testify on behalf of, testify in support of the university, we would love for you to do that. Please reach out to me. Commissioner Iglesias, if you can put my email in the chat so people can email me if they have any interest, from the Main Streets to Forest Hill Connection, any other organizations out there, any of the tenant associations. We know that as an HBCU, as a university, we are facing potential devastating loss in federal funding. So we need all of the support that, and we all are, right? It's not just UDC, it's universities, it's the district, it's all of us collectively as a whole. So we all need to do everything that we can to support each other. And the university is right there. We want to support people as well, because we would never ask anyone to support the university if we can't somehow provide some type of support as well, within reason. So that's my report for tonight, and happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Thank you.
Thanks, Juanita. Would you mind just sending us, are there sort of some bullet points you can that you can send to us that we can use or that we can pass along to other community members for like just sort of how we might best frame our testimony to be supportive?
Sure, absolutely. I'll send those tomorrow morning when I get in the office.
Thanks. Thank you so much. Good luck. Good luck, and we're rooting for you.
Thank you. Well, good luck to everyone. Because
Yeah, I know.
we all know it's scary.
Thanks, Juanita.
Thank you.
I think I see Shantice Winbrown from Councilmember Fruman's office. Hi, Shantice. How are you?
Hi everyone, sorry, I was having an issue with unmuting. How are you this evening? So we have a couple updates. One is a fairly new developed update. So we actually do have the finalized budget oversight hearing schedule. A couple things that our office wanted to note was that we have to officially cut off the witness list, the online registration, 2 business days before each hearing. And we also have to limit the testimony to, I believe, 3 minutes. Because with the budget freezes, as Juanita kind of touched on, the mayor's order pretty much is freezing any overtime. So we have to be finished our hearings by 5:30. We cannot go over that time limit. So we're just asking everyone who wants to testify to please limit their testimony to 3 minutes and to please register online before the 48-hour mark. And with that being said, our first hearing is actually on the 29th, which is next Thursday, I believe. So the online registration period will cut off on next Tuesday, which is also the day that the budget is supposed to drop. So if you would like to testify, please sign up between now and Tuesday so that we can hear your testimony. If you do happen to want to testify or submit written testimony, you're happy to do so. We'll accept that even after the online registration period ends. The next big thing is that we received word from PEPCO that there will be increases in everyone's bill. It's going to be about $20 from what the Public Service Commission and PEPCO was able to estimate. And they said this is due to like the higher demand for energy in that area, and because the summer months are going to be hotter than usual. It's going to be more information in our newsletter that comes out on Thursday on that. And the other thing is DC Health Link. They are having in-person enrollment pop-ups, and we have two this time around at the Cleveland Park Library on June the 9th and June the 25th. These are for the federal workers who were impacted by the layoffs. And those are my biggest updates. I did have one, but I see that DC Water is on tonight, so I'll just let them speak to it. But the council member did meet with DC Water.
You don't want to break that news, Shantice?
Of course not.
You let someone else take that on.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
So it seems fair.
So that's
as someone who's previewed the news. Yeah. Thank you, Shantice.
No problem. I'll take any questions if anyone has any questions for me.
I think we're going to move on to our next Northwest Community Food, Judy Ingram.
Good evening, commissioners and members. Thank you for inviting me to update you on the Northwest Community Food Pantry. Thanks to a tremendous show of support from the community and UDC's commitment to serving the community, our pantry is on track to complete our move to new quarters by the end of this month, the end of next week, actually. We're moving to the back of the David A. Clark Law School building at 4340 Connecticut Avenue, across from the UDC tennis courts in the alley, Gold's Gym on the other side, and Gloria Garcia right in front. We're going to be roommates. We'd like to thank President Eddington and UDC's Vice President Javier Dusan for not just finding an exceptional space for the pantry, but also for renovations that will help us meet the growing need for food in our community. The looming move has helped us focus on how we can better serve our clients. While distribution will still take place outdoors in all kinds of weather, we're introducing an appointment system to help reduce long waits in line. Hopefully, when you pass the line on Sunday, you won't see quite so many people standing and not moving. With support from the Capital Area Food Bank, we're also going to be providing guests with nutrition information and so-called nudges to help them choose food that's not just filling, but also healthful. A new refrigerator and freezer will help us meet the demand for fresh food, particularly produce, meat, dairy, and eggs, all of which, of course, are in great demand. We appreciate the large amount of fresh food we receive, not just from the food bank, but through Food Rescue US and our hyperlocal donors Mom's Organic Market, which has actually been donating every single day. UDC Farmers Market and New Morning Farm, which operates a market out of the Sheridan School parking lot. Our pantry draws strength from the surrounding community, from all of you, and you've been exceptionally generous. We thank you, our neighbors, ANC3F, and Councilmember Fruman in particular for helping us help our neighbors. Thank you.
Are there, I know you have a sign up and a mailing list. Are there other, and you have a website? Can we put that in the chat? And there are ways that that'll show us and members of the community ways that they can contribute, with their time, with their donations.
Yes, I'll put that in the chat.
Thank you so much. Thanks for coming to the meeting, and I hope you'll continue to come and keep us posted because I think this is a really important part of what's happening in ANC3F is the need and the service to the need. So thank you for being here. We are now, I'm sorry, Karen Caston, you have a question quickly?
I did not understand from what Ms. Wynn Brown on Matt Fruman's staff said, which committee hearing is coming up immediately that we have to sign up for by Tuesday. Is that the House Committee?
Shantice, we'll put that information in the chat. Shantice will send that put that in the chat and we'll provide that information. That's a great bit of clarification. I think you can see it on the council website.
Can she hear?
I don't know, but we'll put it in the chat.
She absolutely can hear, and I've let her know, so we'll communicate that in the chat as soon as she gets that over.
And then everybody will be able to get that information in the chat. Thank you so much for that question.
Please.
Shantice, it was a question about, could you post in the chat the schedule of what committee hearing is happening on the 29th and then those hearings thereafter where people need to sign up to testify? We're going to post that information in the chat.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
No problem.
Excellent. We now have a new entry in our community forum. We want to spotlight because it's beautiful springtime and we have this amazing resource in our neighborhood that is the Hillwood Estate Museum and Gardens. I was lucky enough to be there recently at just the height of one of these most beautiful evenings we've had. We invited Jessica Bonilla to come, who's their chief horticulturalist, to come in and tell us a little bit about what's happening at Hillwood this spring. Thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you so much for inviting me. So again, I'm Jessica Bonilla. I'm the Director of Horticulture, Hillwood Estate Museum and Gardens. You know, we're right off Linnaean, which is right off Tilden, there by Pierce Mill. So we are the former residents of Marjorie Merriweather Post, amazing 20th century businesswoman, collector, philanthropist. And yeah, we sit on 25 acres. Half of that is formal gardens and half of that is woodlands. So it's really a really fun place to come and also just kind of get away and try to relax and forget about kind of all the craziness that's going on in the world today. So I want to invite you all to come. We have some great programming coming up in June. We have a new exhibition starting right at the beginning of the month. It's Exile to Avant-Garde. It's the life of Princess Natalie Pele. We have Divas Outdoors, where you can watch a movie on the lunar lawn. The movie this year is A League of Their Own. That includes a best picnic spread competition. So you can get out your finest picnic wear and see if you can win a prize. And then we have a dance program from the New York Baroque Dance Company. And that's going to be very interesting because it's historical music and dance. It's actually inspired from the Marquis de Lafayette Grand Ball in Philadelphia in 1824. So if that interests you, it's going to be a great evening, several evenings actually, of dance out on Lunar. So and then also we have some environmental, more focused programs. We have guided forest bathing and we have bird walks. And I do want to say, I know that a few years back, we were recipients of a grant to work from ANC to work on some stormwater management. And we appreciate that. We put that to good work. Buying plants and erosion control materials. And we've really kind of embraced more environmentally friendly methods here at Hillwood. So please keep that in mind. We're working closely removing invasives because we are right up against Rock Creek Park. We work often with the Parks Department, you know, trying to be the best neighbors that we can be. So.
It's amazing how you're just in a different world and you're so close to Connecticut Avenue. It's so beautiful. And are there ways, I think there are people who people can volunteer. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Yes. We love our volunteers and many come right, you know, locally from the community here, of course. We actually have about 300 volunteers who are in all different manners. I can speak for the horticulture. We have about 100 volunteers there. But again, we have people who are just out supporting the garden maintenance. We have our woodland stewards who are out in the woods pulling ivy and again, helping us getting rid of those invasives. We have a group of volunteers that are doing our bird survey. So there's, yeah, lots of ways if you have time. And then too, of course, there are people in the mansion. We have a lot of docents and also in visitor services. So lots of ways to get involved relatively close.
So if the world's got you down, everybody, like Juanita was saying, we have amazing places for you to go. You can visit, you can volunteer. You can volunteer with the community food pantry. You can volunteer if you love the garden. You can volunteer if you love art, all within ANC3F. Thank you so much for coming and telling us about what's happening. And we will put the website in the chat.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jessica. Now we have the Reverend Carol Mosby, excuse me, from the Capitol Memorial Church. Commissioner Guzman, you want to introduce Reverend Mosby?
Sure. In the spirit of supporting all the youth in our neighborhood, I ran into Reverend Mosby at a community walk at Forest Hills Playground. And she mentioned to me many wonderful programs that the Capitol Memorial Church runs, all free of cost. And I thought it would be great for the community to hear about those. And I hope this begins a long and fruitful partnership between Capitol Memorial and ANC3F. The first and most important part is awareness and getting the word out. So I'm delighted that Reverend Mosby is here. So take it away.
Hi. Hello. Uh, Good evening, everyone. Oh, thank you, Commander, for putting that up. Thank you, Sue, for inviting me. I'm new to the area. I've only been here about a little over, well, about 2.5 years now. And Capitol Memorial Church has actually been in the community since the 1960s. They built that particular edifice. And so I am, first of all, enjoying being in the community and ministering there and getting to know the people. I'm not sure of the history regarding reaching out. I think most of previously they were sort of just sort of enclosed. They were very friendly to the neighborhood, but not really reaching out and assessing the needs. And that's something from my background. I was a teacher, a public school teacher in California prior to going into ministry. And so I have a love for people. I want to see young people to thrive and to grow and to be their best, and whatever that entails. And part of that is teaching them and helping them to learn how to get along, how to have excellence and to grow and to care about others and to have respect in this day and age, and just to develop leadership in them as well. So since I have been here, I've made some contact with a few of the apartments and the city, just trying to find out what were the needs. Because when I came on board there, the church was somewhat recovering from COVID, and they did not have many things for children or for youth. And so that was my priority for the first 2 years, were to develop and implement programs that would be helpful to not only our members, but to the community. So this is a little picture of our church there. I don't know if you've seen us there on Chesapeake Street. It's a pretty large building. And what we offer, I just wanted to share a little bit of what we offer for our children. And here's some pictures of our own little ones. And I think I sent a little video clip, maybe we can watch a little later. So we do spiritual growth. You do not have to be a member of our church to join this. And so these programs are actually in the afternoon, 2 Saturdays a month. So just any child, any parent can bring their child and register them, and they can be a part of it. As you can see, it's sort of like a Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. We have uniforms, they learn crafts, they learn how to, as I was saying, how to have skills that they can get along, to develop teamwork, to be able to articulate and read. So this past week, all of our young people, they sort of just took over our service. They spoke, they preached, they sang, they whatever activities they wanted to share with us is what they did. So here, and we provide everything. So we purchase uniforms there. There's no cost to anyone. So a parent bringing their child would not have to pay anything. Our church has we have dedicated ourselves to helping the next generation. So another thing we do, physical growth. We do a lot of activities. We camp. Many of our children, we took camping last summer and had never been outside of the city, have never been outside of the area. And so we went camping. Okay, if we could go back to that other slide. Sorry, did I click that? I'm sorry. Okay, and then we help them intellectually. We do a lot of, as far as hands-on things, we do memorization. We help them to sort of develop those cognitive abilities as well. Socially, we teach them teamwork. If you live in the area, you've probably seen our older children. We go out and we do community service as well, but they work together as a team. We teach them, they come from all backgrounds, but they learn how to do group activities. We teach them, especially the older kids, we will teach them money management, cooking, service, things like that, and just help them to be leaders. I mean, we are Christian. You could go to the next slide, but they do not have have to be, like I said, a member of our church to join this. We do a lot of outdoor life. So the younger children from age 4 up to grade 4, they would be in what we would call the group of adventurers, those 4th grade up until 12th grade, actually. And once they are in high school, the upper grades, we teach them leadership. They're actually our leaders for those from 4th to 8th. And we do just many things. They learn how to tie a knot. They learn how to, when we go camping, basic first aid, and they will get they earn patches, they earn honors. And so it's just a wonderful opportunity that we give them. Here's our upper graders, here's the younger children. And this is our current, these are our current adventurers and pathfinders. If you go to the next slide. So they learn outdoor life, they learn serving others. We went to the zoo last week. So we do many activities just to help our children to grow and have a well-rounded experience. And at the same time teaching them, was that the last slide? Okay. I think I have a little video clip if you'd like to show that. If you didn't receive it, it's okay. So basically, this is just one major program that I thought would be helpful to our community. We are trying to advertise, and some of the community, the apartments, they do allow us to put our flyers up. So we're trying to connect a major one, Vacation Bible School. We have quite a few kids come to that each summer as well. But this one is an ongoing program that really helps and sort of the child to grow and to develop, as I said, socially with skills, leadership, and just being part of a family. We also provide food every first and third Saturday. We feed them as well. And they do, a parent or guardian decides to be a part of this and bring their children. We provide all the camping gear and anything that they need to be a part of the program, from uniforms all the way to tents, camping gear, all of that. But we're here to help. We're here to just see them develop and stay out of trouble, learn to say no. We teach our own children to say no and learn to make good decisions, to be well-rounded young people, and we want to see them flourish. Do you have any questions or anything for me?
Thank you so much. This is we're so nice to have you. So nice to have you in the neighborhood and in the community, and being a wonderful mentor to the children in the area.
I was going to add, I unfortunately am unable to play. I would have had to have the video a little earlier just to load off the right account, but I'm sure we have a question or two, perhaps, of course.
And I tried to send it over. It was just too large. We did 15 seconds, 10 seconds, 5 seconds.
That's quite literally why I can't do it so short notice. I was
We're
like,
so
oh, no.
happy to learn more about what you're doing, and we hope to continue in partnership and particularly with Good Clean Fund. Thank you so much for telling us a little bit about what happens. And I know that church has been a big mystery to me, but a big presence in our neighborhood. So really nice to meet you. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Maybe Reverend
we're going to go right now to our community announcements. If anybody has a community announcement or something they would like to bring to the table. And if
Courtney, I think
not.
Oh, Commissioner Carlson, I think we have a question.
Yes. Cal.
So I have a question. I have an announcement. So as most of you know, the new bus plan goes into effect on June 29th, shortly after your next meeting. And there are things that affect everyone, like every route is being renumbered, and there are things that affect only certain routes. Now, WMATA will be appearing at metro stations and riding on buses to help people get reoriented during the starting on June 9th. The bus transit group, which I am a part of, will be co-hosting an event in June. I'm sort of the go-to guy when it comes to really details about how you transfer from one place to the other to get to where you're going and which bus stops are going to be eliminated and all that. So we're going to be co-hosting an event up in Chevy Chase in which we go over all the details of the routes that affect residents west of Rock Creek Park. And so we're reaching out to other parts of Ward 3 to hear about this. It'll probably be just before or just after your next meeting, so we'll have to figure out how to get the word to you between your meetings.
Thanks, Cal. I just wanted also to point out that we have received information from WMATA that I actually made a post on my Instagram account about the Better Bus Network and linked all of the changes and stops and all of the information. So we're doing a little bit to get the word out within our ANC.
Yeah, what we're going to do at the event is much more detailed than that information. And that's also, you know, the bus stops are in one spot and one document, and the what's going to happen to replace the routes is in another document, and there are maps all over the place. It's a lot of information. And so I kind of put all that together so that people can get a more comprehensive and understandable and digestible version of all this stuff.
Great. Thank you so much for making that announcement. That's exactly what the announcements are here for. Thank you. We're going to go right now to our favorite former commissioner, Terry Hewitt, for a report on housing and neighborhoods. Hi, Terry.
Hi, how are you? Good evening. Let's see. In reference to the neighborhood in general, the many apartment buildings, I must honestly say I've been so focused on the purchase. I'm on the tenant association board of my building, no surprise. We're very happy to know that we have a second offer, a company that's going to keep rent control in place, and so we're looking forward to all of that. In reference to the community as a whole, I'm also a community advisory council for MPD, and I really enjoy that work equally. And speaking to Commander Savoy, learning about CVS, how multiple MPD assets are used to protect the community as a whole, and that includes our community. It's across all 8 wards. But that's because the corporation, the CVS, has a policy of minimal security, or no security, and MPD is, because they focus on the community, they're spending a large portion of their budget, a substantial portion of their budget in this type of policing, specifically sitting outside CVS while watching the community as a whole, while protecting the community as a whole. And I'm going to do a bit more conversation with MPD to better make certain I can best represent this issue while working on a resolution, because it does affect all of us as neighbors. We all either have firsthand or secondhand or thirdhand experience of something going on, something going awry, shoplifting or something that's not legal. But that is why MPD is here. I will also reiterate, in our neighborhood, we often see UDC outside of the Van Ness, the Van Ness Metro, but CVS. And if you're not aware, UDC police are also MPD police officers. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. It is an issue. If you do have concerns, I'd love to hear about it. I think it will help me as I write this resolution. Thank you. I'll step down on that for a moment. Do you have any questions of me?
Yep, sorry, I was muted, but that's a real, I think the CVS issue is, I know the CVS issue is a very important issue. into the two places we have CVS's in 3F. And it's particularly resident right now on the block between Nebraska and Fessenden, where we have a lot of people who are shoplifting and then selling those items, often just trying to get students, passersby, to get, it's a problem. Thank you for bringing that to everyone's attention, and we will work closely with you over the next month to write a resolution that will be helpful to those ends.
Thank you. I will say that the amount, just to give you an idea, I do have a number that was said, but I need to verify it. I will say that the percentage of the budget is above 30%, roughly. It's a lot. And it's also affecting how MPD is several minutes late, not late, but it taking longer to respond. And that's a big concern for them, because the residents, the community as a whole is very, very, it's important to them. This is why they're here. Thank you.
Thanks, Terry. Thanks. It's a really important issue. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And we'll see you next month, and you're going to have your own section where we're going to talk more deeply about that issue. So thank you for giving us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, Barbara.
There we are.
Am I okay now? Oh, good evening, commissioners and neighbors. Thank you for this opportunity to talk. I just wanted to share that I am a member of the Washington Interfaith Network. My congregation, Temple Sinai, is a member of WIN. And the Ward 3 congregations of WIN have put together testimony or put together comments on the proposals for the development that's going to happen at the Chevy Chase Community Center and Chevy Chase Library. Apparently, the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development has selected 8 proposals that responded to its RFP. And our WIN group reviewed the proposals, and we ended up filing comments with DEMPED, the person in charge of the project there. If anyone is interested in what we said in our comments and any more information about the proposals, you could feel free to email me. And maybe someone could put my email address in the chat if anyone's interested in what we're doing and would like to comment. There is
Thank you. Thanks.
a May 28th deadline that DEMPED has set for receiving comments about this project from individuals. I understand that for ANC3G, DEMPED has extended the comment period for the ANC only, so I'm not sure what the status of that is. But for individuals to express their views, May 28th is the deadline. And if you'd like more information, I'd be happy to talk with anyone about it.
Thanks a lot. Thank you for bringing that to everyone's attention. It's an important issue in our adjacent ANC. Thanks. Moving on to streets and sidewalks, Paul Harrison. Paul, I know he's here. Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. No, it's great. I like how you did that, Adrian. Boom.
I was the one who did it, so I was easily timed.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Joining us on the big screen. Oh.
Ta-da. Hey everyone, good evening. Paul Harrison. I'm the head of the Streets and Sidewalks Committee, which is an unelected appointed position. And I wanted to just sort of use this time to quickly remind folks of the status of the sidewalk gap program in ANC3F. We've not had a formal meeting of the committee in the last month, but we did participate in a meeting between DDOT and neighbors on Alton Place between 36th and Reno. So I'm going to show a little bit of context for that, and then I believe there's a resolution the commissioners would like to discuss. Adrian, can I do sharing?
Give me 10 seconds. You may now share.
Ooh. One sec. Sorry, that is there we go. Okay, so just really quickly, you folks have heard this before, but we've been lucky in that DDOT has substantially increased their budget this year for addressing the sidewalk gaps. The city has more than 200 miles of sidewalk gaps, and they are primarily focused on making sure that they bridge gaps where there is no sidewalk on either side of the street, with an emphasis on streets that are near schools, parks, other kind of community assets like that, shopping. As you get into wards, the outer parts of the city, not surprising, are more likely to have sidewalk gaps like Ward 3 and 4, also 7 and 8, than Ward 2 and 1 downtown, which are more urban. This is an image. I will put a link in the chat later about this. This is an image of the sidewalk gap dashboard. You can see this is ANC3F. The light blue single lines here are where we're missing a sidewalk on one side of the street. The blue lines that are double, we're missing a sidewalk on both sides of the street. And the black lines are where DDOT plans in this current construction cycle to fill sidewalk gaps. And you can see there's some of these they're doing one side of the street, and others they are doing both. So this is great news, and the committee and the commission has worked hard to bridge a number of these gaps, most of which have been requested by the community. We do have one, which we'll discuss today, which is Alton between 36 and Reno, where the community had some concerns about the plans for the sidewalk. And there is a process for people to be notified that a sidewalk is coming in. Sidewalks are built on city property, not private property. But folks have an opportunity to comment, particularly because oftentimes there are trees and other things going on that people have concerns about. I just want to show you this also. This is the city's official zoning map, which is a great way to go and sort of see your property, your neighbor's property, and find out information about it. But it's also a great way to see exactly where the property line is. Obviously, it's not exact, but it gives you a good sense, right? So I'm showing you here the corner of 35th and Alton Place. This is an area where folks have really asked us to get a sidewalk installed from Alton to Yuma. And that is going in this current cycle. I think they're about to start construction on it. But you can see here that there's a lot of space in between the actual street bed and the property line. You can also see in here, it's a little harder, but there's existing sidewalks and you can see where there aren't any. But just a quick reminder that for most properties in the city, there are at least 15 feet between these streets and the start of your property line. Often that's obvious.
Can
If
I
there's
ask you a question on that up here? If you go to the upper left-hand part of your screen, there's a house there on Alton Place where literally the house comes out into like a couple of these here where the house comes out into what would technically be the city property. So
that is correct.
I mean, how does that work? Because that doesn't seem like what are you going to do? They're going to like haul a sidewalk through your front porch or what?
Well, in the past, I mean, you guys have all been on streets downtown like 6th Street and 9th Street where there's an extremely narrow sidewalk and no front yard. And that was because the city chose to do construction projects to widen streets to bring in suburban traffic into the city. And they did use the space in front of those buildings. So technically, I believe, if the city wanted to make Alton Place the entire width and make it part of some big highway project, they are perfectly within their rights to have that building removed. That said, the sidewalk team doesn't do that, and they do try to work around existing structures. If there are heritage trees or large trees, the forestry department's rules trump the construction of anything. So, for example, you and I can't cut down a healthy heritage tree on our property, and neither can DDOT's sidewalk team. So they do have to work around issues like that. But technically, if you put something on city property, it is at risk. And there is no adverse possession against the city. So you can't, unlike if the fence is in the wrong place, you wait too long to complain about it, your neighbor can't move it. That does not apply to the city. So anyway, this is a great way for folks to get a sense exactly of like where are your property lines relative to both your neighbors and city property. As the city generally doesn't post where its property is. So just wanted to highlight this. And I think this leads into a nice conversation. Again, I will post how you can look at both of these in the chat. But if we go over here to Alton, that is Sheridan School at the corner there. This one, and as part of their upgrade of their building to be allowed to both have handicap accessibility and to have a vestibule that is secure from active shooter incidents, as well as upgrade their building. They had to enter the dreaded development review with the city, and that leads to, in general, when you do a major development, you pull a building permit on your property, you are required to build any sidewalk gap that is existing. So some folks think this is unfair. You don't have to build a street in front of your house. You do have to build a sidewalk in front of your house. Just like you don't have to plow the street in front of your house, you do have to plow the sidewalk in front of your house. But that is the way it is. So we got together with members, along with DDOT, members of Alton Place here between 36 and Reno, and they expressed concern because their houses are relatively close to the sidewalk zone about the plan, and there was discussion there that led to some suggestions from the commissioners and the community about how DDOT might do things differently here. So can I turn that back over to you?
I mean,
Commissioner
I
Follett?
might call an audible and just discuss the resolution now.
Yeah.
Without objection from the other commissioners. Does anybody mind if I, just change the, because here we have a visual.
It's a great idea.
I want to start by saying that, and Paul, you might be able to speak to this, but the Sheridan is doing this project, and the neighbors on this block and Sheridan have this very nice cooperative relationship that I have seen in my time as commissioner, and is not always present in relationships between neighborhood neighbors and a large school that brings some extra traffic into the neighborhood. And I've seen these neighbors and the Sheridan School work together very nicely over time in ways that have been really nice, as we saw them work together to, as we Sheridan permitted this large construction process, which obviously has an impact on both their students, but also on the neighbors of that street. I was not at this meeting, and Commissioner Rothman is on a vacation, but I would like to introduce this resolution that requests a traffic and engineering study to determine the feasibility of converting the 3600 block of Alton Place to a one-way street. And an aspect of this resolution is that DDOT suspend the current plan to install a sidewalk through the landscaped green space on the 36th block of Alton Place Northwest, and conduct a traffic and engineering study to determine the feasibility of a one-way street consistent with the other block of Alton Street that's on the other side of Reno. Part of the reason, we're asking for that, is in the interest of what both Sheridan and the neighbors have requested in terms of this construction project. The Sheridan has to install this sidewalk as a part of their construction project that turns the corner on the right side of your screen there and goes up to the parking lot. That sidewalk will serve, shared employees going from, the front of the school to the parking lot. That sidewalk will serve the neighborhood gem that is the New Morning Farmers Market. And we have reason to think that it might not necessarily serve the rest of that block, which is not a through street in any way. I know that there are some members of, there are people from the block of Alton Place who would like to speak to this issue. But I think, there's some things about these individual blocks that bear conversation. And I know, taking into account what you've said, Paul, about this part of the block being DDOT property and not an owner's property, but owners over time have added green space that it is hard to see get paved over. In addition, Sheridan has put some mature screening hollies in front of that parking lot, which also changes the feel of the neighborhood. And the absence of those in favor of green space, I think, is something that should be taken into account. Does anyone, I don't know if you want to speak to that, or if there's anyone that wants to make a comment on this
Can I add just one more
resolution
thing
from the
to it?
community? Yeah, please.
Yeah, I want to emphasize to folks that it was, it was a direct conversation between DDOT and the neighbors, and I think everyone appreciated that. It is important to know that it is city policy and city law that there is a sidewalk on both sides of every street, as a way to allow people to walk, and sometimes you'll see a street where there's not as much pedestrian traffic and think, well, we don't need it, but in fact, the provision of infrastructure leads to more people using infrastructure. That said, I really wanted to commend the neighbors for saying, hey, we would like to see this street kept calm and quiet. And we're looking to propose another alternative here, which is to use the public space in a different way to both do traffic calming and have pedestrian infrastructure. So these are not folks who are saying, we don't want people walking in front of our homes. They're saying, how can we use this public space to have as much greenery and as much access as possible? And I appreciate the spirit that they approached this with. So I just want to throw that
There
in.
is also, I did add, the draft resolution was online. I don't know if people had taken a look at it, but I did add, after talking with Councilmember Freeman, the possibility that as bike lane projects get further along, that in the that there might be a place for us in that study for Alton being a pathway for east-west bike infrastructure. And so that it would be another part of how they might look at that street from a holistic, we often talk in streets and sidewalks about sort of not just looking at things block by block, but looking at how each block serves a neighborhood. Alton, because that other street is on the other side of Alton Place is one way. It doesn't have through traffic. It doesn't go through all the way to Wisconsin, and it doesn't go through all the way to Connecticut. So it does have a very quiet nature to it. So, and again, I'm sorry that Amy isn't here and I wasn't there at the walkthrough, but I do think that, considering this alternative, thinking about the traffic in the neighborhood, thinking about perhaps how creating more bike infrastructure throughout the neighborhood might contribute to this study, and that Alton Street could be a piece of that, is another thing that we thought would be important to put into this resolution. So if anyone else would like to ask a question or make a comment on this, you may, and if not, I would move that we vote to pass this resolution.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
So that passes the resolution, and we will forward this resolution to DDOT. We will continue to work on this issue. The perspective that you gave and the overlay is really interesting, and it's a good way to look at how all of these projects are done. I think we've made, 3F has made a lot of progress in terms of looking at sidewalk priority, and we've, I mean, if I do say so myself, I think we've made we've made some impact on parts of, for example, Albemarle, where DDOT was going to put a sidewalk, and we said, hey, actually, this is better placed elsewhere. So we are, I think we've have a good working relationship with DDOT on this. We appreciate DDOT's partnership in making our streets safe. We also appreciate the way that Sheridan and the neighbors work together. And I think we really want to make sure that people, all pedestrians are safe, and that the neighbors also feel heard. I think we have a one neighbor from Alton Place, if you'd like to make a quick comment. I don't see a hand up. Judith Katz.
Hi, all. I'm Judith Katz. I was under the impression that we were going to be able to make a comment before you addressed the resolution.
I asked for comments. I'm sorry, I didn't see any hands.
Well, I was muted and I couldn't be unmuted, so
okay.
I wasn't aware.
Sorry. And
Do
just
you
to
have
be
an
clear, there's
objection
just-
for?
We don't mean literal hands, but there's a button.
No, I know. I
where you
understand.
raise-
I understand. I do a bunch of these meetings. I just thought that we would have an opportunity to comment further on the resolution and how we feel about it. I know there are a bunch of my neighbors here. I just wanted to talk about and to give you a sense of what this this street is like. I think that you represented it beautifully. I've lived here for 23 years. I bought the house because it was a great location for my two children. We could safely walk everywhere, to schools, to friends' homes, and play at Sheridan Playground. And the natural integrity of the street is beautiful. We have blossoming trees, and the neighbors take pride in beautifying their front lawns. And we've coexisted, as you said, with Sheridan School. And they have continued to encourage the green space with their lovely trees. We have always had one sidewalk, which has always provided a safe access way for all of us. The amount of pedestrians on Alton Place is minimal. I work out of my house, so I have a window that looks on the street. There are hardly any people who walk on that one sidewalk. This is the place we go to for safety. We also we're lucky enough to have driveways on our side of the street. And this proposal to put this sidewalk is going to take roughly 50% away from that driveway space and our front yards. We have very small front yards. And it's unnecessary. It's just absolutely, it's an unnecessary installation. I've always walked my dogs. All I do is I cross the very narrow street and get to that sidewalk. And there's never
Ms. Katz, we have 5 people who have their hands raised. So can you just take 30 more seconds, please? Because otherwise we're not going to, otherwise
I have less than 30 seconds. I have less than 30 seconds. So as a DC taxpayer, I've enjoyed living here. I would think that my tax dollars could go to something that is necessary rather than just an impractical, unnecessary expense, which will greatly impede our living situation on this street and change the fabric of this street. So I oppose the sidewalk altogether. Thank you.
There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people with their hands raised. I'm going to ask that you each please speak for a maximum of 30 seconds. Isaac DeVere, excuse me.
Hi. So I'm just going to echo what Judith said. I've been a resident of the block for 4 years. I have 2 young children. They both go to Sheridan. They are walking back and forth on that block every day, obviously twice a day. This is a solution to a problem that does not exist, and it would destroy hundreds of square feet of grass, flowers, bushes, trees, fruit and vegetable gardens. It's just not necessary. When the DDOT told us it's for the children on the block, I'm not only a parent of the children who go to Sheridan, I'm a pretty involved parent in the school. Nobody in the school, none of the other parents see this as something that's necessary. And look, of course, it's our front yards that'll be affected, but this is a block that is a neighborhood that feels a certain way. Putting any change in like this would change the fabric of the neighborhood in a way that does not need to exist. And especially when we are looking at a city that is going to have a major budget shortfall, we would just urge the city to use the money that would be putting in something that doesn't need to be here into somewhere else, in another sidewalk, a place where it doesn't have any sidewalks, or feed some children with it, or anything. This is not a block that needs the city's help. And in fact, this would be destructive in a way that, in the name of serving the neighborhood, it is something that I think that anybody who could walk along this block and see the fabric of it would understand. Matt Fruman came and looked at it on Sunday. The DDOT people were here along with Amy, and could see what was going on, and they were saying to us, "Oh, look, there's somebody walking a dog over there that I saw one time." That's not the kind of thing that really needs to be addressed in a neighborhood like this. So thank you for listening. There are a lot of other people here to speak, so I'll just let it go to them.
I'm like, I've really ruined the flow of this whole thing that we did our resolution before we're hearing your
I think we
impassioned
just
pleas.
we didn't realize that
This isn't
that
good. This isn't
the
good
raising
TV for
hands.
us. Okay.
But we were look.
We
I will tell
appreciate.
you,
Yeah.
this is a rare situation in America in 2025 where every single person on this block is opposed to this plan on both sides of the street. We all agree on this. This is just not right for the neighborhood.
I mean, and we just, for the ANC has heard you, and I'm sorry your commissioner isn't here, but yes, we've heard you. And so I'm going to ask that if you're going to be duplicative of what's been already said, if you have something new to add, we're happy to hear from you. But if you're repeating what's already been said, we hear you, we've responded to you, and we're going to continue to work with you. Mike Sires. Mike, you're up.
You are
okay.
You are unmuted. However, we cannot hear you.
Okay, I'm going to move on to Alan Yu, whose face I can see and looks ready to rumble.
And Mike, if your microphone starts working at any point, just send a message in the chat. I'll leave you unmuted for now.
Thanks. So my name's Alan Yu. I'm on the north side of Alton Place. So I'm a new participant in this conversation. This conversation that Amy Rothman has been managing, as far as I know, has been completely with the folks on the south side. So I just want to make 2 points. One, my wife and I, who have been on the street for 32 years, we're actually the second longest resided people on the block, are fully on board with the position of the folks on the south side that the sidewalk is unnecessary. And I think that there was a long set of conversations and points on why that is. So I won't go over that. But the other main point I want to say is that I oppose this resolution both on substance and on process. And I would suggest that the ANC consider this very carefully before you vote, hopefully, for the second time. Let me tell you why on both substance and on process. On substance, if we're contemplating building out a sidewalk 5 feet into the street, that basically leaves two scenarios that I can see. One, we're either taking parking off of street side parking off of one side of the street, or if in some very difficult to imagine context, we try to keep two parking on both sides of the street. Making it one way will make the throughway really nearly impossible for anything like a garbage truck that has to come through every week, or a moving truck to get through the road. That's the substance. The process objection that I have is that I really regret that Commissioner Rothman couldn't make this meeting, because I'd like to meet her, because that would be the first time I would have met her. For her to have conceived of this this proposal with as really strong ramifications for the whole block, and not really have a transparent and comprehensive consultation with people on the north side was really, frankly, malpractice. And so I think that if this resolution, if the commission is going to consider this resolution, I think that there needs to be a more thorough stakeholder engagement and review and input from the entire block before it goes forward. Thanks.
Thanks for that feedback. Our understanding, and I don't want to misrepresent Amy, and it was that the residents of the block were all consulted, invited to various meetings to discuss this. If that's not the case, then I'm sorry to hear that, because that was what our understanding was, and the genesis of the resolution came from a meeting with DDOT, and that all of the neighbors on the block were invited to. So I'm sorry if you feel like you weren't a part of the process. I would represent Amy by saying that I'm sure that was not her intent, because she's a pretty collaborative person. John Doherty.
Yes, hello. Are you reading
Hi,
me?
John.
Hi.
Yes.
Thank you, and I apologize for not being on video, but thank you for the opportunity to speak on this. I'm also a resident of the south side of 3600. I will not repeat the good articulations of our opposition. We are united in it. The one point I wanted to just add is, like many of the others on this call, I'm an attorney, and as attorneys, we go to the statutory language. I looked at the statute that governs this sidewalk fill-in process. I have some disagreement, I think, with Paul as to what that statute requires. I don't think it actually says anything about a requirement for both sides of the street. It says at least one side of the street will have a sidewalk, and we have that, right? We have that here on the 3600 block of Alton Place, and so I do think there is some weakness in the city's position, that their hands are tied and they're just, acting in accordance with the statute. And I think that's something we're looking at very closely here on the block. And I would hope that, we're all able to, and I think the resolution is generally good in that it is expressing opposition, at least a delay, it sounds like, in the city's plan to install the sidewalk. I think we may differ somewhat, sort of to Alan's point, as to whether the right thing to do is to turn the street into a one-way and add other things, rather than say that this statute does not apply to this situation, and this street meets the minimum requirements and even adequate requirements of accessibility and safety, and that a traffic study, which I actually think could be illuminating here, is going to reveal that this is a very lightly traveled street, both in terms of car traffic. It's going to reveal that it's a very lightly traveled street in terms of foot traffic, and that there have been zero incidents over what I understand is the decades-long experience of some of my neighbors involving either pedestrians or traffic from a safety or accessibility standpoint. So again, appreciate the opportunity to comment, and thank you all for taking the time to consider this. It's obviously important to us, and we appreciate you taking it so seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of information in the chat that I don't think I can take in and before I finish this. But Paul, if you do want, is there anything else you would like to say? I'd probably like to see if we can pause and re-include Amy in this when she returns. I feel a little bit, I'm sorry, I think this is like my technical glitch from Zoom and not understanding and not seeing the hands raised. I'm sorry. I think I was just trying to zoom through too quickly. But there is a lot of information, and you know, again, like unfortunately, I was not there in the meeting. And why don't we table this conversation until Amy returns, and we can talk about it in a larger group. Does that sound?
Commissioner Carlson?
Yes.
Is there a way that we can go back on the voting of the resolution?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean, I think we should, I guess I'm asking that we table this at this point, because I don't think, you know, we put forward what you know, was worked through in your SMD. I think, you know, we did the best we could with the information we had. I think, you know, there's a lot of all well-intentioned people here who have strongly held beliefs, and I'd like to see those beliefs represented. And, you know, maybe we need to talk to DDOT, again. Yeah, I guess I'll ask that we table this until Amy returns. I think without objection among commissioners, does that seem correct? And how about as the chair of Streets and Sidewalks, the four of us who are here on screen plus Commissioner Bear, I think that, you know, perhaps it just bears more conversation. So I guess again, and I would just like to apologize for having moved too quickly through that. I really didn't see the hands, and you know, it's my technical glitch. So apologies, and we will continue to work with all of you on this issue. I had thought that we were sort of getting to a place where we were representing what the neighbors in Sheridan believed to be the best path forward. And I also think that what we were trying to do, if I can represent Amy and also myself, I read it and looked at it and edited it, is also looking for a path forward that would work with DDOT for what it's worth. So I think if the neighbors want to sort of think about the fact that that was what informed how the resolution was written, that's how I'll say that, and then we'll move along and talk about it next month. Thank you, everybody, for your words. So now, since I've made us all out of order and messed something up royally here, let's see if I can right the ship. I'm not sure DC water is going to be the way to do it, but I think that's where we are.
Okay, Courtney, before we move on to DC Water, I just want to introduce that I want to thank very much Matt Fruman and his office staff who participated in that site inspection last week and prepared an excellent summary of it. And with that, I'll turn it over to DC Water.
Yeah, with DC Water, I was assuming DC Water was gonna present that summary, unless you'd like to do it, Commissioner Bear.
No, I'll let DC Water do the summary since they were there.
Who is here from DC Water so I can unmute them?
Jarrell.
Jarrell.
Hi, Jarrell.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Hey, good evening. As Commissioner Bear said, we had a meeting on site with Councilman Fruman. So we just have some brief talking points for tonight. I'll kind of go through where we are on the project and through sort of what the completion. So we've started, I know you guys may have noticed the drilling activities, those started this week. We'll begin excavating for the manhole. That'll start about the second week of June, starting June 9th. We've ordered the materials, the liner materials for shot 10. There's a 4 to 6 week lead time on those materials. We anticipate beginning that final sewer lining around August 1st. We'll be using the UV technology to dry that as well. We plan on doing reinstating the water line along Albemarle Street late August, August 26th. We plan on beginning our restoration and doing final paving early September. And right now, our target for reopening Albemarle Street is September 11th. We're working hard as possible to try to cut that date down if possible, but that's where we are as of right now. Any questions?
Thank you.
Commissioner Bear.
No, I have no questions, Jarrell, but I would like to say that Emmanuel promised me that an update would be sent to the community, and none has. And so I ask once again that you guys reinstate your weekly updates to the community, and you start that tomorrow with an update to the distribution list that you people have for the project, so that people who may not be on this call can get it through that update that is sent out.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be sending out a update to our list first thing tomorrow morning.
Thank you very much. But I also wanted to be sent out weekly from this point on, and especially since the work is going to be so intensive over the next 2 months, that you hold to that weekly update.
No problem.
Jarrell, can I also ask
Okay.
that you copy all of the ANC commissioners on that?
Yes.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, we are going the we're going to move on to the thanks, Jarrell, the Edmund Burke Student Sustainability Club. We have Steve McManus, the head of Edmund Burke School, and I think Commissioner Guzman is going to drive this boat, knowing that it's 8:45. And even the members of the people who live on Alton Street are getting tired and ready to go to bed.
I don't have much to say other than this particular grant application especially impressed me because it's led by the Student Sustainability Club at Edmund Burke, and I love that it's driven by the kids. And in my visiting of Edmund Burke, I understand that that's the way Steve McManus runs things over there. And so I am super delighted that ANC3F can support you. So Steve, just very briefly, maybe very briefly summarize your grant, and then we will move forward on that.
Sure, absolutely. I'll maybe try to get us back on that hopeful, positive tone that we had here at the start of the meeting. But Steve McManus, head of school at Edmund Burke School, thanks for making time to consider our proposal this evening. This grant will support the removal of invasives and the planting of indigenous trees and shrubs that are more adaptable to our local climate. These plants, as we all know, are known to attract bees and birds and pollinators and promote the healthy and sustainable local ecology. This will also result in the beautification of the area along Connecticut Avenue and Upton Street, and will educate community members who pass by the school about the value of native gardens with educational signage. We've already been the beneficiary of some donated native chokeberry bushes from UDC, the DC Master Gardeners and Master Naturalists program. That's a partnership we hope to continue and strengthen, along with the generous and unflinching support of Kathy Sykes, who's been a great consultant and partner with us. And as Sue said, this project really has been spearheaded by the Burke students, in particular, JP Prionotakis. He's a sophomore who's revived our sustainability club this year, and he's actually on the call with me this evening and has watched our democracy in action. So it's been, I'm sure, educational for him tonight. Students will be responsible for the labor, planting, sweat equity, and ongoing maintenance of the gardens as volunteers. So we are seeking tonight the ANC support with a grant of $1,250 for the purchase of a variety of native trees and shrubs and educational signage. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, and also I appreciate you mentioning Kathy Sykes, Van Ness Main Street. I love how her passion and her work is just extending itself all through ANC3F. That is like a really happy, positive thing. So I'm a newbie commissioner. This is my first time. So I guess I just propose a motion to approve the Edmund Burke grant as set forth.
I'll second that.
Second, thank you. All in favor? Aye.
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 Yay. Motion
That's
passes.
Yep, all four commissioners present voted affirmatively. The motion passes, and the Edmund Burke Student Sustainability Club will have a grant from us. And our thanks for applying for the grant and for using it so well. Thank you so much.
Also,
And
I just want to make sure that the notes reflect the Office of the OANC was particularly responsive in reviewing the grant and working both with me and with Steve on making sure it was exactly packaged in the right way so it would get past all the bureaucratic hurdles. So thank you, Office of the OANC and Denise Wichter in particular.
And we're going to just piggyback straight onto this with some more pollinator love with Kathy Sykes, who just like radiates pollinating throughout the neighborhood. So this is a second grant proposal, Van Ness Main Street. So Kathy Sykes, in cooperation with Van Ness Main Street, the pollinator program grant.
You want me to say,
Kathy, take it away quickly, but speak it.
Well, the one new thing that we're going to try to do is expand into the neighborhoods with examples in each one of the ANC, of the 6 ANC areas, with little, what I would say, branches into the main stream of Connecticut Avenue. We're still filling in some gaps along Connecticut Avenue, but I thought as part of an educational process and to continue helping the pollinators that are under great threat these days is to get more good action from people in the community and a hands-on experiment or example pilots on streets that run parallel to Connecticut Avenue. And so that's kind of the idea. So it's an educational thing for the community, hands-on into new areas to sort of expand the areas where pollinators can live and thrive in our neighborhood. And remove the invasive.
and speak for the bees. I want to recognize Gloria Garcia as well. Adrian, let me see if I can get you. I think Adrian may have dipped away here. Let's see.
You did it.
You
did
there you
it.
go. I
Good
did it.
job. Good job. I want to just echo Kathy, but I also want to recognize her. She is very humble and modest, and Van Ness Main Street is now really an example with this pollinator program, and it's been all her for almost all of our existence, which is 10 years. And she and her husband are invaluable to the community, and they plant between 800 and 1,000 plants every year. And then that's not even including the bulbs, because I know she's continuing those bulbs that we bought during the pandemic. And I know that 500 to 600, if not more, going in every year. But she's also very generous, because she and her husband, along with what little we can raise, which we do raise for this program, she more than exceeds what this grant is annually, what her and her husband donate. So, you know, it really is their legacy. Van Ness Main Street just happens to be so incredibly lucky to have them on the corridor. And just so you know, we are going once again after a PEPCO grant that will even, you know, make this even a stronger program to expand into the residential. You know, we want to expand into the residential area between the two commercial corridors, and that's what we're hoping we can do with the PEPCO grant that's due in July. So it really is an amazing program. So thank you to the ANC for the support, because it really is a legacy project.
And thank you, Gloria, for the support that you bring from the community to get involved a couple times a year, and then more like one-on-one through the rest of the year with people who just want to help out a little bit.
Right. And just so
And
you
this
know,
really is permeated through the whole meeting, by the way. You know, I'm just looking back at how much we've done tonight, everybody, and how long we've gone. And, you know, so much of what has been on this agenda touches, you know, has been touched by the pollinator program, has been improved by the pollinator program. And, you know, of course, you know, the overarching Van Ness Main Street. So this is where the ANC is delighted to support this again.
Oh,
sorry,
thank
Gloria,
you.
go ahead, please.
Yeah, no, I'm just so excited about Steve's program at Edmund Burke too. I mean, that's just like, Kathy, you should be so proud about that. And then also Merch just contacted us like a couple of weeks ago, and she's like, I want those signs, like the pollinator signs. And we had you know, we're directing people to go where to get the signs. So it really is catching on. If we can get all the schools, it would be amazing. So it's slowly, but you know, Kathy, it's your legacy.
Well, it's been with a lot of community, I'll say, and including the ANC. So thank you guys too. But I know I should wait.
Okay, so now I'm sorry. Now I'm going to move that we make a motion that we support the support the grant proposal for the Van Ness Main Street Pollinator Program.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, thank you.
So I want to but since Commissioner Bear isn't on camera, I want to, for the record, all 4 commissioners present voted to support the grant.
Great. So we're excited. We'll get some communications out to, you know, once again, demonstrate the ANC support. So thank you. We'll get the word out.
Thank you. Okay, and so now, since we've gone out of order, we are to Yared and Saji Yared, the state, and Saji Ragami from Canna Art, and your request for a medical cannabis license at 5008 Connecticut Avenue. I see Yared.
Yes, hi, Courtney.
Hi.
Hi.
Would you guys like to speak?
Saji, you have anything to say? Hi, guys. Yeah, nothing more than I said last time. It's just now we have moved a little bit further in the process. We have put a proposal that Courtney and the ANC have, and we're looking to as soon as possible dissect it and be part of the community, as I always said.
In the time between we saw you last, the ANC was given information about an infraction cited by the ABCA enforcement on August the 6th, 2024, where you, Yared, were cited for illegally selling cannabis at a location that was not licensed as a cannabis facility. So for that reason and the proximity to the safe route to school, the ANC is going to draft a resolution to protest the location. Has drafted.
May you remind me so ABCA has drafted a citation to us. When was that? Because there was a citation.
August 6th.
Correct. That's when we closed. There was a citation, but there was no follow-up on them. Like, it was dropped by the city and all that. So just wanted to say, like, a lot of stores have started as I-71, and we started as I-71. We're not trying to hide anything here. And yes, there was a citation, but there was they asked for $4,000, and we went and they just dropped it. So I just wanted to say that.
Okay, but again, so my understanding is from looking at the information that was provided to me in a FOIA by ABCA, that you applied for a conditional license in June of 2024. I know that I had already received complaints from neighbors as of May 30th, 2024, when I first contacted ABCA about information I'd received about the distribution of marijuana from that site.
Correct, Courtney. And I'm sorry to interrupt, but as I said in last meeting, we started as an I-71 store, which at that point was allowed. When ABCA decided to change the rules in the city, and
in June 2024, it was allowed?
Correct. They decided to hold an inspection to all I-71 shops. I am familiar very well with the industry, how it used to be before today. And I mean, there are shops that had continued from that citation and on, many shops in the city. We decided to close the doors because we wanted to go the right way about it. We were informed that the I-71 rules were applying to where, as you guys already know, to where we are gifting the cannabis, not selling it. So there was no, again, that citation was done from ABCA. We decided not to continue the I-71 the model, obviously, because we wanted to do the things correctly, and we have stopped since then. So the thing is that they went to 150 stores that day and give citations. Some stores went on, some stores didn't go on. You guys can protest it and do whatever you think is best, but we want to be there in the space, and we are going to be there in the space, and we would like to find a resolution how to do this. It's like almost like guys are penalizing us for citations that we got way back, and our store was open for like a month and a half or two. So anyway,
but a settlement agreement requires the good faith of both parties.
You got our good faith.
That's how. But as we work together as an ANC to try and understand ABCA and these regulations, excuse me, if you let me finish and then I'll let you speak. We are trying to figure out our path forward, right, as an organization, to what we will support and what we won't support. And it seems to me that an applicant who has previously violated the law is something that we feel is a strong message to us
we have
that
not-
it is difficult for us to proceed forward without protesting that in that same space. And my understanding is when you applied for a conditional license, you said you did not have a location. You did have a location. You were already operating at Canna Art as Canna Art, and your application says you don't have a location.
This was ABCA's mistake when Jason Peru, the gentleman who's conducting all these inspections and all that, he made a mistake. He said that you guys don't have an application. And later on, he found out that we have an application. This whole thing with ABCA has been a mess the whole time. There were over 300 stores in the city gifting for the last 10 years almost. So you're going to penalize us because we broke the law?
So all I can say is the information that the ANC has
Okay, do you have any
from
information?
ABCA.
What about us that we're your neighbors and we're the ones that are conducting or are trying to? All I'm asking is you hear us too, not just ABCA. It's almost like you don't want this to happen. Is that true?
We have other grounds. The ANC as a whole has other grounds for protesting your application for a license. I mean, we discussed those with you at length when we met with you at Politics and Prose. And one of those has to do with the fact that that particular strip of Connecticut Avenue is frequented by middle school, elementary school, and high school students walking to and from Murch, Alice Steele, and Jackson Reed. In fact, you are literally like 100 feet from an intersection that is deemed part of DC's Safe Routes to School. There is a positioned crossing guard there at that intersection. And again, echoing Commissioner Carlson, we have started this relationship with a violation, a sense of distrust, and then also compounded to that, there are safety and well-being issues of our neighborhood as a whole that we are concerned about.
Okay, so should we go and check all the, so ABCA give us a license, correct? And then in that case, should we go and check all the safe routing to schools and where the shops already exist to like counter?
Look, it's not
our jurisdiction.
I understand your
Our
point of view.
jurisdiction is.
But
Yeah, it's
right.
not our job. We're worried about ANC3F.
ABCA, which you're saying that had give us a violation, is giving us a license, and based on that protects your point that is a violation. I mean, it is a violation concerned to ABCA, but they also give us a license. So the city has been a mess with this whole thing, and the operators, the people who are willing to be part of the community, should not be penalized for this. And I feel like I am being penalized.
Also look at it from our point of view. We are tasked as an ANC for unraveling this knot of a mess that you say that ABCA has created. We are also in an awkward position of we are part of the government, but we are asked to police these license applications and make sure that they are appropriate for our neighborhood. Like, we appreciate the fact that you want to do business in our neighborhood, but we have to look at the public good of ANC3F. And obviously, hold on, obviously, I am passionate about students and children. That's the whole reason I am on this ANC commission. So 100%, I told you when we met, 100% every day of the week, that's going to be my point of view. And I just don't see how you can justify having a medical cannabis dispensary within, probably 700 feet of a Montessori school where there are 3-year-olds.
You look, it's I'm sure you have seen the plan that we have drafted, There's no one under 21 going inside there. The windows will be blacked out, right? And the door will remain closed at all times with a doorbell to be rang. So there's no way anybody from Montessori could understand or no. But also that signal.
But the middle schoolers can.
But they can understand that anywhere.
And then we have a blacked out storefront on an active, vibrant block in our
Next to an
neighborhood.
ice cream store.
We're actually
next
not
to an
going to
ice
black
cream-
out the window because I looked into it and the city is allowing us to put art display in the window. So we are going to have art display inside of the bay.
I'd like to call on former Commissioner Terry Hewitt. Commissioner Hewitt, sorry, we're going to unmute you, but Commissioner Hewitt, former Commissioner Hewitt, I think is relevant. Particularly, I would like to say in this conversation as she was a commissioner when we negotiated last summer the settlement agreement with Mr. Green, with whom we had no protest and negotiated a settlement agreement.
Thank you so much for this. I won't take very much time. Thank you, commissioners and gentlemen. I hear you. I'm also a resident in the neighborhood. I've been here a long time. I understand you have a license. With that license issued by DC government, it is not given to you so that no one has a license to do as they wish. DC government, regardless of your personal feelings about the individual that you've interacted with APCA, they issued a violation. There's a fiduciary responsibility as a business owner to adhere to DC law. This is really what the issue is. With that, because I-71 or whatever that might be, it's about the practice of business and upholding the trust of the residents in this neighborhood to know that you're operating in good faith. Paying the violation off, and I hear the $4,000 violation or the fee because of the violation does not eradicate or erase the existence of the violation. So it's not a matter of saying, oh my gosh, mea culpa, I paid the violation, it goes away. That is not how it works.
Violation was
The violation was
please,
the violation.
Excuse me, one moment,
Correction.
please. One
Can
moment.
I have a correction?
Sir, I'm going to ask you kindly, give me a moment.
Okay.
I'll be more than happy to hear you, but I need you to hear the logic in this, because what I'm saying is law. It is not personal preference. It is not the ANC's personal perspective. It is the law. The ANC's role is to ensure that there is vibrancy in the neighborhood, but at the same time, the responsibility of businesses adhering to law. That is why we bring MPD to the meeting, why we bring APCA to the meeting, why we bring all of these DC government professionals who are licensed or otherwise to the meeting. So it is not about you.
Yep.
Specifically, there's not targeting to you. It's not, no one is sitting there trying to target your business, but there is a responsibility. With that, your responsibility is to ensure the safety within your business, but also the atmosphere around your business. And the commissioners are talking about something very, very important, because that is why you see MPD truancy vans. It doesn't take much for someone not knowing enough, who needs to have the guidance of adults, who might do something. I've seen it as a teacher in DC public school. I've seen the kids in middle school with things they should not have, and that includes what we're talking about.
Correct, ma'am.
So I want to make certain before you talk, you do understand what I just said. This is about the law. This is not about your personal preference or our personal preference?
I do.
Okay.
I'm sorry to let my frustration, speak for me, just like I had a second ago. It just seemed like you said that we're not, business is not being targeted, or personal, we're not being targeted. I understand that as well. It's just, it seems like, for entrepreneurs, DC residents, that like me and my partner, that we have put our hearts and souls to this project, and we have been so patient and waited, and we're paying rent currently while we wait for this license to happen, and bringing up a violation that was dropped by the city of DC. We didn't pay anything. We didn't even show up to court. There was nothing happening. It seems like it's not targeted, but it seems like you don't want to work with us. There's no, like you worked with Mr. Green, or other neighbors worked with other stores.
Mr. Green, the process was completely different. He came to the ANC before he opened. He gave us a presentation about how the business would run. He did not sell marijuana from that location until his license had been granted, and a settlement agreement was signed by both parties.
Sounds good, ma'am. So you basically, we have had one meeting, Courtney, face to face last time. We have given, and then one meeting in Zoom last time.
I've never met you face to face, sir. We have met with Yared, and I have met with Yared when he first opened the business. And he was operating as an I-71.
May I finish, please? So you have met us. You have met with my partner when we opened. You have met me, in face to face in Zoom, and then you met my partner face to face at a coffee shop. And this is the fourth time we talk, and there has not been any other communication in between, rather than just, we're going to protest it because you have a violation. There has not been any.
I FOIA'd. I'm sorry, I should let you finish, but I do want to let you know that
I'm sure you guys
I submitted a FOIA request to ABCA to understand the process better. We're not lawyers, we're not litigators, we're not investigators. We're volunteers who are trying to do the best for our community. So I had to submit, because the ABCA process is quite complicated, I submitted a FOIA request to ABCA to understand where this went from beginning to end. You're right, it's a convoluted, like Commissioner Guzman said, it is a convoluted process. It is hard for us as volunteers. We're donating our time here to understand the process. And I was not given any information about the violation until Friday.
Okay.
So it's new information for us. We are operating within the timeline, of ABCA. We must vote on this,
Correct.
on whether to protest or proceed forward with a settlement agreement.
That sounds good. So basically, you are
at this meeting.
All right. May I finish? So you are putting your judgment on character as us, right, based on the violation that we. So basically, you're saying we are not going to cooperate with you in the future. That's why you're
No.
You're going to protest, right?
No.
You have not met us yet, right? So how do you know that?
We met with Yared. You weren't. You didn't come to the meeting.
Correct. So what is that?
Or do you hold other cannabis licenses? Like, do you know this process more thoroughly than we do?
I don't. I know very much that the city has been a mess, and because of that, we have put as I said, our hearts and souls and all our monetary, we're entrepreneurs into this, and also based on what you guys are saying, the minors around and all that. I have 4 children, ages of 4 to 14. I'm very aware of that as well. So
have you spent time on that corner during when I stood on the corner this morning with a business owner across the street. I was there from about 7:30 until 9. It's the passage to school of hundreds of kids in our neighborhood, hundreds.
That is all over Washington.
Understand,
DC.
but it's also
Yeah,
a business,
yeah,
and
no,
there's
it's
also a
true.
liquor store across the street. I mean, it's
There is a liquor store and the liquor store, there is at this point, we are having a lot of issues on that block with thefts from CVS, with people who are stealing stolen goods from CVS and then going to the liquor store, becoming intoxicated. We have some serious issues with some serious issues with what is happening on the street with intoxicated community members.
As you know,
who are
cannabis consumers are not like, you cannot put that in the same category, please, because
no, I'm talking about just the situation that we have on the street. And if you were listening to the meeting earlier, we talked about this several times, both with the lieutenant and others. I know that the business owners, some of the business owners across the street are also, concerned and plan to file protests to this business as well. So I do think that, it's not just like, the ANC as it stands here, but we are reflecting our conversations with members of the community, businesses on the commercial strip. We are required to act at this time. We are acting on information that we have received. As I told you, quite recently, information I received based on, information I got from APCA on Friday, which is there was a violation and cannabis was being sold without a license. I don't have any, Lisa, can you please let me finish? Please let me finish, because I've spent a lot of time trying to work this out. I've spent a tremendous amount of time on the phone with APCA's general counsel, to try and understand our roles and responsibility. And as you know, last summer, I also spent a tremendous amount of time both on the phone with APCA and on the phone with Mr. Green. Mr. Green, and I'm going to say this process was completely different. We negotiated a settlement agreement with Mr. Green. I could have handed you that same settlement agreement, but we are not in the same situation that we were last summer with Mr. Green. This is a different location. This is a different situation where a violation has occurred. So that's where we sit. We are obligated as an ANC at this point on this night, because we are at a duly noticed meeting, to make a determination of whether we protest. And then I think we have a period where we again can work together to talk about what next steps are. Or we have a settlement agreement signed. We met with you once, you sent us some information. We've been talking with our neighbors. This is where we stand at this point. I do believe there is a time when you can continue to present to us why that violation is not a violation. We can continue to feel, as I think members of our community do, that that location is not appropriate in this neighborhood at that location where it sits, which is a grounds for an ANC to protest. And this is what we have heard from our community. It is what we are hearing from our businesses across the street, who you will also hear from, that this is not the right location for a medical cannabis business. And again, I am going to tell you, this is not where I sit in my own personal life with a feeling about medical cannabis. I had zero problem with Mr. Green. We negotiated a settlement agreement with minimal, with no problem at all. I think you saw him, he was here last month. It is not that we are not willing to do that. We are looking at each location, at each situation, and we are making a determination with the information that we have. Again, I'll remind you, I am not a lawyer. I did my best as a volunteer. I spent a lot of time on the phone with APCA to try and understand what the process is. And you're right, it's a complicated process, and we are doing our best. We are, you have heard throughout this meeting how we have done our best to lift up small business owners in this neighborhood. And I do believe that objectively, this is a different situation given the violation that occurred. And
Greg, may I-
we then, from now on, you and us can have a meeting together with ABCA, which would be preferable for us. If you would like to help us to understand with the ABCA General Counsel present,
Thank you.
if that wasn't in fact a violation.
Thank you.
Now, we again, like we have an additional grounds that we as an ANC have the right to place in a protest. I will
Absolutely.
not speak for the business owners, but I will say that my understanding is that the majority of the business owners adjacent to to the business are also going to be filing protests.
That sounds good, Courtney. May I ask you
Based-
a question?
As well as, also the parent associations at all the schools will be filing protests as well.
That sounds good. May I ask one question, because you guys drafted the Mr. Green? What puts Mr. Green in a better location than us, or a more safer location? Is that like something that you, because it seems like you guys discussed that and are putting it up front. Yeah, my
I think
question.
the location, you know, this is our, you know, this is like our place, right? Mr. Joe, if anybody who is still on this meeting at, you know, dark 30 here knows, we talk about Mr. Joe. I talk about Mr. Joe all the time. Mr. Joe is our crossing guard at the corner of Fessenden and Connecticut Avenue. He drinks a black tea with 2 Splendas, okay? He is our neighborhood heartbeat, and he is a DDOT employee posted at that intersection in order to ensure the safety of Murch Elementary, Alice Steele, and Jackson Reed students from their homes to school. They often walk unaccompanied. You know, some kids walk with their parents, but a lot of them have the, you know, emerging freedom of their tween and teenhood to be able to walk by themselves because DDOT has posted a safety officer. This is their path to school. That is a prime reason why this location and that block, the block where the bookstore is, where the ice cream is, where the bagel shop is, where those kids after school get the chance to free range, right? After school, they are able to, you know, go and do what they will. And there are, as you have heard during this meeting, some, you know, emerging problems that we're having on that block with some theft, some crime. And I think, again, we're responding to that. I think we would move forward and have a meeting with you and ABCA to better understand what the violation means.
Thank you.
And then, you know, again, we can, you know, we would also talk to ABCA, I mean, about what is our right about in terms of the pedestrian safety of, you know, the student population of the neighborhood.
Absolutely, or our right to be there. Like, look, I understand all of those things. As I said, Courtney, I have kids of ages 4 to 14, 4 of them, within between 6 and 13, and I am 100% with you into the safety and all. I just don't see like how logically we can in any way affect any students in that block by being a cannabis store, or they don't walk by Mr. Green on the weekends, or any other areas in DC and downtown. Is like, I just don't get it logically.
It's not the DC DDOT designated pathway to school. I mean, I have kids. My youngest is 14. I have a 19 and a 21-year-old. Like, you know, wait, you know, until you see when there are, you know, kids pushing boundaries as they get into high school.
I was 19 and 21 and 14.
I know. I mean, we all were. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm saying, but you're invoking your children. I'm going to invoke my children too. You know, it is a real conversation that we're having. And again, I think we have to. I don't think there's. I know. Let Commissioner Hewitt speak again, and if there are any other comments from the people who are still on the call, but I do think that this is our. You know, it is our duty as an ANC to respond to the neighborhood, to respond to the issues that we feel are important in this
Yes.
space. This is the process. The
And
process is there are these very limited parameters by which the ANC operates in terms of a protest, and we have the same parameters. I mean, actually they're not the same, but it's a similar process
but they're
to
not
a
the
liquor store. It's a similar process to a liquor store. And I don't know that I would say if a liquor store wanted to open there right now that, sold, gummy bear vodka, I would likely protest that as well.
Well, yeah, if they're selling it to
Right.
under,
And I mean, it's not about cannabis necessarily. It's not about your business. It is about what is appropriate and safe for the neighborhood within the bounds of what the ANC has been charged to do.
yeah,
And these are the parameters that we have observed, we have looked at. Again, I think all of us have tried very diligently to work to understand the laws. You're right, it is complicated. We will pledge to continue to try and understand better those laws. This is not the first medical cannabis application we've had, and I'm sure it won't be the last. We have already in 3F a legally operating medical cannabis business that the ANC worked with. This is not a situation. Again, the law provides for this ANC to weigh in on this.
You first said we have to follow the law and all that. So the law have given us the permission for the site and all that. I understand all your concerns, Courtney. I'm sorry I don't know if you have any more and things in the agenda, but please don't waste time with me because I understand 100% what you're saying. As long as these things are logical and they're thought through, I will comply with everything that you say. But I want them to be thought through first because it doesn't seem like they've been thought through thoroughly. It's just been whoever's people complaint was, and it's been thrown out there. And I want to explain my situation, what makes us different from Mr. Green location, what makes us, how would be like with anybody under 21 years old, or you have a 21-year-old kid, and they can do whatever they want. If somebody comes to our store and shows the ID that says 21, I have to follow up. But if the ID is under 21, and we have a trained person to do that, we're not going to sell anything to that person. So the kids are going to be exposed to this. There's buses had that joint that was like don't smoke, but it was like almost like promoting more smoke in the city going back and forth. So they are going to be exposed to this, and we're going to be there in an educational way. So when they turn 21, they have seen the store grow and all that. They've never been able to go in and all that. So we're not going.
You're ready for them to turn 21.
No, it's not ready for them. They can do whatever they want at 21. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That when the people are, cannabis has been like a dogma has been like bombarded for as we know, or if you know the history of cannabis, for a long time, and it's still being bombarded. So this is also the part that I don't get, to where it's like how long you're gonna like try to hide cannabis from your children when you know that somebody at their high school is gonna sell it. With stores being open, all that, they are controlling it. It's less likely for somebody at the high school to sell it because now it's more controlled. So it's still being like how to say, like decentralized. It's almost like we want it to be controlled, but no, we don't want it to be controlled. Anyway, it's the first.
We wanted it to be controlled to the extent that we worked hand in glove with Mr. Green when he applied for a license and opened his facility.
I haven't seen much work on your end rather than just give us the letter, give us the proposal, and all right, we're going to protest it. So all I'm saying, it's like you said before, let's get an APCO official to like participate.
Yeah, absolutely. We've tried. We are volunteer elected officials representing our community, trying to do our best to understand the law and how we operate within it to best serve the members of our community. I again will I mean, I can't say enough, the process where Mr. Green came to our meeting, presented his business plan, and we worked with him to open is different than the way that this has happened. So Commissioner Hewitt, former Commissioner Hewitt.
Thank you. I would say what came to mind in this last comment is that Mr. Green's a little different because as much as they wanted, or the gentleman wanted to open his store, and he really wanted to open his store, he did follow the law. He did not. He really wanted to open. But he followed the law. And when, whatever the situation may be, I don't, please, at this point, it might help not only to have ABCA in, but also to bring MPD in the conversation because they know the law and they can do the research of the violation and determine where it is. And maybe that will make, because I read the law and the law is pretty clear about possession and dispensing. And if you don't have a license, that it's you get a violation. I could say worse, but violation. I think that's kind of the end. It sounds like the ANC has given you a great deal of opportunity to speak on this matter. And I would say as a resident, as someone who's attending this meeting as well, you can't sit there and compare apples and oranges. You can't compare to companies because you don't know the history of how they were stood up. What we do know are the facts, where you are, and that's why the ANC is here. And they do a phenomenal job. This is a volunteer job. It's not an easy job, but it is a necessary job for the benefit of the community and for businesses. And I will call it that. I'm not going to take any responses right now.
Thanks, Commissioner. I do want to, there was a question posed to me, where exactly is Mr. Green? I believe it's
next
I can't remember, 4010, next to the Gold's Gym and Potbelly on that block. I think it's 4010 Connecticut Avenue. And that it has been open since November.
One other point, just one other final point from me that I wanted to make was that the Mr. Green situation, although I was not on the commission when that process was undertaken, I do know and understand that there was not the neighborhood mobilization of displeasure about Mr. Green's location that we are experiencing in that block of Connecticut where Italian Bar and Canna Art is. That is one thing that the ANC is supposed to do. We represent, it's hyper local. I represent 2,000 voters. And one of my jobs is to try to elicit the opinions of those 2,000 voters about what they feel about a lot of different things. That same process was followed with Mr. Green, and there was not the neighborhood reaction that we're having here. That is one major difference that I don't think can be overlooked. Apart from whether, we can argue about the violation or whatever, and we will settle that with an ABCA official. But the fact will remain, even after the discussion with the ABCA official, that the neighborhood is not in favor. And I'm not exactly sure why you would want to locate a business in a neighborhood that is not friendly to your business.
As long as that's the opinion of the neighborhood and not just a few individuals. And as I said, logically, we have to go at this logically and try to work it out. And yeah, let's see. But so far, not given any voice or any negotiations or anything to speak.
Well, I would encourage you, have you spoken with the other businesses on the block? Have you talked to Politics and Pros and Honeys and Americano and comment.
Call your mother. Mhm.
Call your mother, right, exactly. Have you talked to them and like explained to them, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is who we're going to be. We're going to be a fellow business on your block. What do you think?
Yes, absolutely.
We have introduced ourselves. They all have been welcome in. We have consumed our we have been to their locations several times, not just to talk to them, but also to consume their products and all that, because we've been in the neighborhood for a long time now. And
Okay. Well, then I would encourage you to bring us their letters of support because we are hearing something different. So it sounds like you've done some research. We've done a ton of research. We feel like we know what our neighborhood is saying. But if you've had different conversations, then I'm all ears. I want to hear about that.
that sounds great. And I like how because the meeting started then with a violation that is not, it doesn't
Okay.
hold an-
Yes, understood. We all agreed. Let's not talk about that anymore because we all agreed that we are going to settle that in the presence of an ABCA official, right?
And I
Okay,
apologize for-
totally fine. That let's set that aside. But again, the issue remains whether or not the neighborhood is friendly to your business.
Thank
And
you.
from our due diligence, it is not. Despite my personal views about medical cannabis, I am all for it.
Correct.
I represent my neighborhood, and what I'm hearing is that maybe they support it too, but they don't want it on that strip in that location. I mean, what is the first rule of real estate? Location, location, location. It implies to residential selling as well as business location. So I just encourage you, bring us some other dialogue that you've had.
Thank you, Sue. I really appreciate your addition towards the end because it seems logical and it seems yeah, it's a crucial question why you want to be in a neighborhood where you're not welcome. I absolutely 100% agree with that.
Okay,
So
great. I look forward to discussing that with you because
appreciate
I have a pretty clear view, but I am open to other information.
Our understanding is that all of the tenants and owners on the other side of the street who have ABCA mandated grounds to protest will be protesting the business. I can't speak for that, but for them, but that again, Sue and this ANC3F, we work together, and that's been our due diligence on the issue thus far. And so again, I think we need to sit with ABCA, as I've tried to sit with ABCA and, had many conversations with them to try and understand the issue better. We do need to understand. We cannot defer the vote. We are in a timeline with the placarding process, which is mandated by ABCA. And we are required to weigh in on this before May the 27th at a duly noticed ANC meeting with a quorum present. That is what we have now. We don't have the opportunity to do that again before May 27th. And so therefore, we are going to proceed with voting at this point on the resolution opposing the cannabis retail location at 5008 Connecticut Avenue. I'd like to make a motion that we pass the resolution.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 That's all commissioners present. We will, if the business owners would like to schedule a time for ABCA to meet together with the ANC, we would be happy to understand where they sit with the violation. And we will continue this process. We will continue to listen to our neighbors and figure out how best to move forward. So moving on, this is now time for the treasurer's report. Commissioner Guzman.
I just have one matter of business regarding the ANC3F Treasury. I have distributed amongst commissioners the quarterly financial report for Q2 of 2025. It is required that that is approved at a duly noticed public meeting, which is tonight, and then submitted to OANC by May 30th. Do any commissioners have any questions regarding the contents of the QFR?
No, the only, the only thing that I think we need to continue to try and figure out, obviously, is that Wix situation.
Yes,
but I believe that is outside of that QFR report, but I do want to keep it top of mind in this situation.
Yes, the status of that is that it was a debit card expense that occurred on the checking account. I have, thank you, Commissioner Iglesias, I have the background I needed to submit in the QFR. If it ends up that charge is reversed or somehow resolved another way, that will also be represented in our banking account and then would appear in the Q3 QFR.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Thanks. Sorry to bring that up again. But
yes,
I feel like it's something that.
Yes. Ongoing discussions about Wix. Yes, absolutely. But also, I wanted to know if there are any community members that wish to receive a copy of ANC3F's QFR for Q2 of 2025. They should reach out to me directly and I will email that to you. But it is publicly available and willingly given by ANC3F. So
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for and your accounting is top notch.
Oh, well, I had a good teacher.
Handwriting also perfect.
Oh, thank you. I had a good teacher. Thank you, Commissioner Baer, our previous treasurer. He was also top notch and has been a great support to me. So math was not my highest subject in school, so I appreciate all the support. So
I think yeah. Do we have to vote?
We do. We have to make, I'd like to make a motion that the commissioners approve the Q2 2025 QFR as was submitted to you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
That's all four commissioners present.
And,
okay, I'd like,
yeah.
Yep, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, again, any community member that wishes for a copy of that can absolutely receive one. Just send me an email. Adrian, will you put my email in the chat? Thank you. Okay,
Thank you.
That's all from me.
I'd like to particularly thank Commissioner Baer for being here so that we could have a quorum at this meeting, even though he is on his vacation. And I would like to move that we adjourn the meeting. The next ANC3F meeting will be held on Tuesday, June the 17th, also at 7 p.m. Can I have a second to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, everyone, for joining us. If you have any questions, our emails are 3F01, 3F02, 3F03, 3F04, 3F05, 3F06 at anc.dc.gov. So we do all follow the cadence you see there in Commissioner Guzman's email. Mine is 3F06. There is also an email that reaches all of us, 3F at a, wait.
No, it's
hold on.
3F Commissioner.
3F, no, well, commissioners at,
no,
Adrian,
there,
please.
There we go.
Thank
Adrian,
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night,
Thank
everybody.
you. Thank you very much, everyone.
Bye.
Appreciate everyone's attention here into the end. Thank you.
Yes,
Have a nice
absolutely.
night.
Thank you.